welcome along to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, just off the coast of Monterey. It's the venue for the penultimate round of the 2017 season for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Set at the top of the hill in the dry lake bed from which the circuit takes its name. The surroundings to the circuit are very dry and dusty, and falling off the track really isn't an option here, as any driver who does that will find it a major issue. It's the usual format for qualification for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. 15 minutes on the clock, and it will be GT Daytona to go first. Let's head down to the pit lane and to Shea Adam to give us a view of how things are looking down there. Shea?
It's ideal weather for qualifying, John, although it has heated up so much since the cars were last out on track. Conditions almost as hot as they were yesterday when we finished the day. So everybody who changed their setups to try and adjust to this morning will be reverting. Yesterday we saw that the Porsches were very, very strong in these kinds of conditions. We should expect to see the same for qualifying here today.
And Jeremy Shaw is alongside me here in the booth. A nice collection of 16 GT Daytonas. We'll have some more, I'm sure, for next season as well. But as far as the championship is concerned, Jeremy?
As far as the championship is concerned, it's certainly looking good for the defending champions, Christina Nielsen and Alessandro Balzan. They got a 13-point edge over Jerome Bleckerman coming into this weekend. Bleckerman alone on his point score because Ben Keating was forced to miss the last round at VIR a few weeks ago. But certainly the 13-point margin, that can certainly be overturned with as many cars as there are in the final two races of the season. So that is far from over. And in the Manufacturers' Championship, well, there's just 1 point that separates Mercedes and Ferrari going into the final two races. So that is absolutely wide open.
So that is the situation. Each of the three classes that we have here this weekend are on the circuit at the same time. At their own time, should I say. So there shouldn't really be any problems with traffic, but I bet somebody will complain about it. We are a couple of minutes away from the green flag. New colour scheme for the number 86 Acura, and it's a colour scheme that they've had success with here in the past, Jeremy.
Yeah, they have. 1 year ago, John Pugh was alongside Ozzie Negri in the Michael Shank race with Kerr Bagajanian's prototype Ligier, and came away with Ligier Honda, and came away with a magnificent victory here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. So that's a colour scheme very reminiscent of that, and they were hoping it brings us the same kind of level of success. Certainly the car has been fast this weekend. They've struggled on and off this campaign with that number 86 car, but maybe this colour scheme is working in the car's favour.
Yeah, I think they think there's a bit of... Racers are very superstitious people, aren't they? Beautiful weather. That will not be an issue. The other Acura, by the way, in a carbon fibre scheme this weekend, the 93 car, excuse me, and Andy Lally is the name that is on that at the moment on the timing screen. Remains to be seen whether it is Andy who takes the car out of the pit lane. Good start to the season for Acura. They've been a bit unlucky in the second half of the season. They might have expected. No, it's Catherine Legg who's in the 93 for sure. That is Catherine's helmet.
Yeah, unless Andy is taken to wearing mascara.
What he does on the weekend is his own thing, Jeremy. Who can honestly put their hand up and say that they haven't worn a bit of mascara on the weekend, particularly during the 1980s now? Come on. 15 minutes on the clock, 15 seconds to go before we get this underway. Live in sound and vision over on IMSA.tv and on the player at radiolemans.com. Right, Jeremy, where's your money?
Yeah, no, I think it's got to be the Porsches. Last year it was a Porsche who was on the pole with Alex Job Racing. Alex Ruberas got the pole position here. We saw in two of the sessions yesterday, Porsches right up to the front. There were three of the cars at least were up towards the front, and I expect the same in this qualifying session as well. But as we've seen this season, it's very difficult to predict, because for a while during that practice session earlier on today, I think we had 7 different manufacturers in the top seven positions. So it really is wide open.
Everybody out of the pit lane, Shea, Adam, or have we got 1 or 2 people who are just playing a little bit of a waiting game? Hello, Shea. Oh, there you are.
That was the sound of the Audi leaving that you obviously couldn't hear at the moment. No,
it would have been had we heard it, yes.
Well, it did make a sound, even though you couldn't hear it. It's a bit like the tree falling. But no, not everybody is out of the pit lane. Right now, the 15 Lexus is still here, as well as the 73 Park Place Porsche, the 48 Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini, who actually just takes his lead. That's Madison Snow behind the wheel of that car, and the 16 Lamborghini. That one is still on the pit lane, but the 73 Park Place Porsche, it's driven by Patrick Lindsay, who got pole here back in 2015. What happened when he got that pole? He went on to win the race. Well, this time he's driving with Jörg Bergmeister, who has a handful of wins here in both Grand Am and American Le Mans Series competition. Been here 11 times in ALMS days, won 4 of those. That's not a bad record.
That's a very good record, isn't it? I'll tell you what, maybe Shea, if you're anywhere near the Lexus team, maybe head on down there, because those cars have been fast on a pretty regular basis this season. As we see Ozzy Negri on race mode there, diving down, or Jeff Siegel actually diving down the inside of Christina Nielsen going into turn 11. But Lexus, they've had problems in most of the sessions, which is, I'm sure, disappointing for them. So they'll be hoping for a good run here. As you say, one of the cars is out of the pits and one perhaps not yet.
So the last car out of the pit lane, and all 16 head out onto the pit head out onto the circuit. Now the drivers that I've got: Lexus 14, Sage Karam, Jack Hawksworth in the 15, Corey Lewis in the 16. Shea Adams says not wrong for one of those Lexus. Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely not Jack Hawksworth behind the wheel of that 15
okay.
Lexus. I'm actually just scrambling over the wall now to see if I can get a quick word with him about the
73 car, trying to find a gap at the moment. That is Patrick Lindsay behind the wheel there, and it's a backwards cycling race at the moment as people are trying to find space up the hill and warm up their Continental tyres. Let's go back to Shea Adam for a quick word before this gets serious.
Yeah, just if we can jump in with Jack Hawksworth really quick. Sorry to spring in on you. It's been a rough start to the weekend. You feel like you got everything figured out with these cars now?
Yeah, I mean, the last session was pretty good, actually. We felt pretty comfortable, so yeah, I was actually really happy in the last session. The car balance felt good. Felt like we had a decent amount of grip. Everyone's struggling because the surface is so low grip here, but we were pretty happy with it this morning, so I think we got a pretty good car for the qualifying, and good strategy and good car for the race. So I think we'll be right there tomorrow.
Thanks. Good luck.
Cheers. Thank you.
Brilliant to hear that Northern England accent of Jack Hawksworth there. As the first times are starting coming. Lap record, Jeremy, as far as GT Daytona. We got beneath it yesterday in the session, I believe.
Yeah, it was set last year by Alex Rubras in the Alex Stern Porsche 911 GT3 R1, 25.775. Okay. So I would expect that to be pretty short-lived in this session. We saw a bunch of cars down yesterday in the in low 25s yesterday, and then this morning we saw, taking advantage of really good track conditions, Brian Sellers set the fastest time of 124.7.
So we've still got a few seconds to be found as people are warming. Now we've mentioned this before, but if you're new to this, different car types warm up their tyres in a different way. A couple of slow laps, and then maybe the third lap for some of the cars. Other people get the heat into them early. All of the drivers telling us that the Continental tyres this year are so good early on that they can lull you into a false sense of security, and actually they do a very good job before they're up to temperature and pressure, as the number 48 of Paul Miller Racing, and that's young Madison Snow behind the wheel there, drops off the left rear Continental. Did he get right over the edge of the curb? Yes, he did, and that's not going to do that inside shoulder any good.
Certainly isn't.
Madison was,
turn 3, wasn't it?
yeah, plagued by punctures at Watkins Glen, and the car with both drivers, I think, at VIR, suffering issues. The point I was trying to make, and Madison sort of helped me out with that, is that the tyres lull you into a false sense of security. You go very quick, very early, even when they're not up to temperature and pressure, and you can get a good lap time. But if you start throwing the car at or over the curbs, with it not being up to temperature and pressure, the sidewalls and the shoulders don't react the same way to the bumps and the potential edges of curbs as they might do after another lap or two. And that's when they're at their most vulnerable. So that may cause issues later for the 48 car, but he has got the fastest time at the moment, as Madison Snow.
Despite that sideways moment in turn 3, so the rest of the lap he really did nail. See if he can do what he can do in sector 1 on this lap, because he went purple fastest of all in sectors 2 and 3. And well, I'll tell you what happened there. Jack Hawkes was apparently is at the wheel number 15 car, even though Shea just spoke to him on the pit lane. But he just went purple in sector 1. Daniel Morad had just gone quicker than that in sector 1, and up to a full couple of tenths quicker than Madison Snow's time. Although Madison has improved on this next lap now as he heads on to his 4th flying lap. Jens Klingman in 2nd place in BMW. Sage Kara moved up to 3rd in the Lexus. The Lamborghini of Corey Lewis. So a change of strategy also there from Change Racing. It's Jerome Rule who qualified the car on pole last time out. And now it is Corey Lewis who's taken the qualifying duties and therefore will start tomorrow's race.
Halfway through this 15-minute session, and Daniel Morad goes to the top with a 28 Allegra Motorsports car. Huge sideways slide by the 33 at the final corner last time around. And who was at the wheel of the Mercedes? Ben Keating, trying hard, thank you very much. 124.7 and now a 124.4 for Madison Snow. Lamborghini, Porsche, BMW again, 48, 28, 96. 24.4, is that the lap record, Jeremy?
Well, yeah, by a lot. It's 3 tenths quicker than Madison went this morning. So that's a great lap by him. Daniel Morad in the 2nd position then at a 124.7. That's significantly faster than that car went this morning. His best time in the practice session was 125.8, and that was by Patrick Long. So Daniel really stepping up there in the Allegra Motorsports car number 28. So Lamborghini is at the front at the moment. Porsche in 2nd place, BMW 3rd, Lexus 4th, and then the 2nd Lamborghinis. And Christina Nielsen pops up into 6th place in the Scuderia Corsa Ferrari.
Yeah, was in the top 5
too. Yeah, Cooper McNeil doing nice job as well in the Porsche car number 50 in 7th place.
So Daniel Morad comes down to the final corner, the left-hander at the end of the lap. Slowest corner on the track, turn 11. Turns in, on the power, lovely, super early there. The wheel of the flat 6 sitting right out at the back of that Porsche, comes across the line. Not a bad lap, but I don't think it's going to be his best, no. In fact, he'd lifted off there. He was speeding up at the end of the lap. And he's come across the line now, 131, that's well off. He must have just cooled the tyres a little bit. 124.469, the time to beat at the moment. 124.9, by the way, last time around by Madison Snow, so not hanging about.
Patrick Lindsay jumps up into the top 5 in car number 73. That's another of the Porsches. The Park Place Motorsports car. He's at a 25.4 on that last lap for the Santa Barbara resident. So a home race for Patrick, relatively speaking, lives 3 or 4 hours down the coast in Santa Barbara.
Corey Lewis improves to 6th in the number 16 Lamborghini with a 125.499. And who else has just jumped up there? Was that Patrick Lindsay? 125.418. Patrick Lindsay up to 5th position. Oz Negri improving as well. So this is what I was saying at the beginning, Jeremy. Not everyone is going to get their best lap on lap 2 and 3. Just depends how the tyres are coming in, and Patrick Lindsay improves again to 3rd, and the 73 Porsche clocks a 124.924, less than half a second away from pole position and 2 tenths away from a front row start.
Very impressive by Patrick Lindsay. He's become the last couple of years he's just improved by leaps and bounds. Of course, he's just like a sponge with someone like the experience of Jörg Bergmeister. He's already had a couple of poles to his credit, including one right here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. I would love nothing more than to get another one here. He's backed off on this lap. He's maybe just cooling those Continental tires just a little bit. Maybe we'll go for one more run. We'll have to wait and see.
Hearing from the pit lane that they're expecting him in at the end of this lap. Jens Klingmann puts his best lap in, the 96 Turner BMW, 4th position, 25 flat, top 4 within 0.6 of a second. Madison Snow comes in from provisional pole position with 2.5 tenths of a gap, and Daniel Morad's still out there, still trying to find a gap in the traffic, I think, Daniel, as Patrick Lindsay stays out of the way. That's really considerate driving from Patrick. He knew he was going to the pit lane, so he actually pulled the car over out of harm's way on the way down to turn number 10, so that he didn't get in anyone's way as he pulled into the pit lane.
And potentially, I think this will be the first time anybody, if Madison Snow can maintain that advantage, then I think that'll be the first time this season that one of the GTD cars has qualified on pole 3 times during the campaign, because Brian Sellers had the pole earlier in the season at Long Beach, and then Madison Snow had a pole position as well during this season. That came at Lime Rock.
Top 3 on the timing screens, make that the top 4 now as Jens Klingmann comes into the pit lane. Make that the top 5 because Sage Karam's already there, are in the pit lane with 3 minutes to go. So they feel that after 5 or 6, or in Jens Klingmann's case, 7 laps on the tyres, they have done that. Through comes the 15.
So I'm actually surprised Jens Klingmann wasn't a little bit higher up the order, and also Jack Hawkes as well. I'm sure he'd be disappointed to be a full second off the pace in the 8th position. But a great lap, I think, by Madison Snow.
It's not Hawksworth, of course, is it?
Oh,
we said it was Pruitt. Yeah, my fault as well. I'm reading what's on the screen. '63 still out there. Christina Nielsen, 9th position for her. Looking for a new team next year, from what she's been telling Marshall Pruitt of Racer.com.
It's curious, isn't it?
Yeah. 3 great years with Scuderia Corsa, 2nd in the championship, won the championship last year, and certainly in with the
second with TRG, wasn't it?
Second with TRG, yes, sorry. 2 years with Scuderia Corsa, won it last year with them, and certainly in with more than a fighting chance. Oh, another huge moment at the final corner for Ben Keating. Not a replay of what we saw earlier, but in fact, greater spin this time. He actually got the car all the way around, but a beautiful flick turn by the Texan.
Yeah, that'll be frustrating for him, because he's just gone a personal best middle sector time. They're just pushing a little bit too hard, straight over that curbing on the exit turn 11, got into the dirt there, and as soon as he did that, the right rear wheel lost traction. Well, he's already on the sliding
was already
sideways
going,
before it, wasn't it?
I think that was
a final straw.
Yes, that was a momentum moment, an inertia moment. It proves, though, that these GT3 cars aren't as easy to drive as people say. You know, they do have traction control, they do have ABS. That doesn't make you immune from the laws of physics, as Ben found out there. But the wheels were spinning. So, you know, you've got control in these cars over the ABS and the traction control settings. And they can make you feel a bit like a hero. But when it all goes wrong, it goes wrong very, very quickly indeed. Particularly the traction control on the GT3, well, in fact, and the ABS, are very sophisticated nowadays, and you can dial them in and out. They've normally got between 6 and 8 settings.
Surprised to see Andrew Davis so far back. He's got in 12th position in the Stevens Motorsport Audi. The team's been struggling a little bit this weekend, although I wonder whether they've just been concentrating on making sure the car is consistent in the race, because we talked about it all weekend long. In the race tomorrow afternoon, how you look after your tyres is going to be critical.
Oh, yes.
And if you can make the car good on a long run, make it look after its tyres, not burn up the Continental rubber too soon, then you're going to be in good shape later in the race. I'm sure that is what this team in particular has been concentrating on throughout the weekend so far.
Down in the final corner for that 57. Andrew Davis in the Audi, the sole Audi in the field, and not coming back next year, as we know. Goes across the line and does his best lap. 1:25.8. No, he doesn't. My apologies. 1:25.832 was his best lap. Doesn't improve from 12th position as the checkered flag was out, and that's the only car on the track. We can congratulate Madison Snow for the 48 Lamborghini from Paul Miller Racing's third class pole position of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship season. Shea Adam has this Continental Tire Pit Lane Report.
Third career pole for Madison Snow as well, and you've got 2 in a season now. You had 1 last year and 1 this year. Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, though, it hasn't exactly been the best track for you in the past. How good does it feel to finally get a pole here?
It feels great to be up top. I mean, the Paul Miller, we were first in P3, the last practice session, but we didn't know where everybody else was going to be on pace. So, you know, we were nervous going into this for sure, but being able to come out of this on pole is a great way to go into tomorrow.
With traffic being such a big issue around this circuit and passing being slightly more than difficult, how important is it to get that pole?
It's going to be a huge advantage for tomorrow. I mean, the cars are so close. There's not a whole lot of grip on this track, so it's difficult to make a pass, especially on the outside here. So being up front will make it a lot easier for tomorrow.
We knew you guys were good in the cooler conditions, but you've actually picked up time in the warmer conditions. Does that bode well for the race tomorrow?
I mean, I think the time is just getting used to the car, getting used to the track, and, you know, really fine-tuning it. The circuit's a little different with the grip levels compared to some of the other ones we're at, which is fine. It just offers a different challenge for us to meet. And I think we've met it for qualifying. We'll see if we can keep it up front for the race.
Congrats, Madison. Good luck.
Thank you.
Madison Snow with the pole position. Little golf clap from Jeremy and I here in the booth. I think he did a pretty good job there. Could have freaked himself. Good answers, yeah. Could have freaked himself out with that drop of the wheel off early on, but managed to keep it on the island for the rest of the time. They'll be having a good look at the inside shoulders, the inside walls of that left rear Continental tyre. You can't change one tyre, and if there's any doubt at all about that left rear tyre, the guys at Paul Miller Racing will be having a good look at that, along with their Continental tyre engineer, of course, to make sure that it is fine to start the race. Jeremy, you mentioned just how important it will be for the tyres tomorrow. You don't want to take any chances there at all starting the race.
You absolutely don't. And you know, the top 3 here, Madison Snow, Daniel Morad, Patrick Lindsay, they completed only 5 or 6 laps each. 5 for Snow and Lindsay, 6 for Morad. So their tyres should be in pretty good shape still for tomorrow. Interesting to me that Andrew Davis, he turned 10 laps in that session in the Stevenson Audi. He'll be starting in the 12th, but he's qualified 12th. I wouldn't be surprised if they were just working on the consistency of the car, kind of sacrificing qualifying, knowing they didn't do anything for the front of the field. And I wonder whether that car will change tyres for the race and move to the back. I don't know, maybe that's just being overthinking things, but it wouldn't surprise me if we see the number 57 car starting at the back.
Anybody, now remember, all of those drivers who qualified there will start the race. It is a standard length IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship race. That's 2 hours and 40 minutes tomorrow. That's 40 minutes longer than we had here, of course, last year. So anybody there that you didn't expect to see starting the race? I don't think so. They look like the regular set of starting drivers, don't they?
Yeah, Jens Klingman qualified in the 96 car. It's generally Jesse Kroner who qualifies that car.
Yes, good point.
Jens did qualify it at Lime Rock. But, you know, they're 2 very quick young drivers, so it's really a toss-up as to which of them would take the starting duties.
Well, congratulations then to Madison Snow and to the 48 crew. The Lamborghini looking very good there. 2.5 tenths the gap back to Daniel Morad for the 28 Allegra Racing Porsche. Then another Porsche, Patrick Lindsay in the 73, the dark grey and red Park Place racing car ahead of Jens Klingman, who will start on the outside of row 2 for the 96 BMW from Turner Motorsport. And happy birthday to Will Turner for today. Apparently he's already had his some tacos. There's a long story behind that, which we won't go into now. Row number 3 will be Lexus and Lamborghini, 14 and 16. Row number 4 for the GT Daytona starters will be Acura and Lexus, 86 and 15. And rounding up the top 10, Ferrari and Porsche. Christina Nielsen leading the championship, just needs to keep bagging points this weekend. No heroics for her or Alessandro Balzan. And Coop McNeil in 10th position. Share with the qualifiers for the GTLM class before Jeremy pipes in again. Shea, go ahead.
This is a long pit lane to walk to figure out all of these qualifiers. So let's start at the front. We've got the 3 Corvette, Jan Magnussen, taking qualifying duties here. He's got 4 wins back in the ALMS days, again, out of 11 starts. So who knows what we're going to see from him. He's a very good qualifier, though. He'll be fighting off Oliver Gavin in the number 4 Corvette. He is trying to get his 2nd pole position in the series. The only other one he's gotten came at the Daytona 24 Hours, so a very high-stakes pole there. The number 24, the white BMW, or sorry, the 25, the white BMW, is Alexander Sims. He does not yet have a pole position to his name in this series, but he does have a couple of race wins. He'll be trying to fight off the black BMW, the 24, which is John Edwards. He has pole positions, and his last race win came here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca in 2015. In that qualifying session, his teammate got the pole that year. Our Fords, we find Ryan Briscoe behind the wheel of the number 67. He's already gotten a few poles to his name. Their first race win as Ford GT came at this track 1 year ago. It was a fuel economy run last year. Richard Westbrook saying earlier that he thinks it's going to be a knockout, drag-out fight this year. 66 is Dirk Mueller behind the wheel of that car. He already has 2 poles, but both of them came at Road America, one in 2016 and one this year. His teammate Joey Hand seems to get pole about every 4 races this year. In the 62, Risi Competizione Ferrari, Tony Vilander, amazingly trying for his first pole position in IMSA. Another guy trying for his first pole, the only of the Porsche drivers who does not yet have one, Lawrence Vantor, first time to this track this weekend. He's done it on video games, but he's learned what the corkscrew looks like from a driver's point of view. He is driving the number 912, and Patrick Pile, the 2015 GTLM champion, he has been given qualifying duties for the number 911. Who's your money on, John?
I don't know. Honestly, I find it very hard when I'm asked to do the podium predictor, and you've still got time to do your podium predictor. Podiumpredictor.com, IHG Rewards Club, and IHG Racing supporting that. Some great prizes up for grabs. I was asked to do the expert picks last weekend. I did them whilst I was in France, and I was thinking, oh, this is a bit hard doing it this far out. By the time we get to qualifying, we should have some. I still don't know. I've got a few better ideas who might be at the sharp end, but honestly, if pick the pole position here, 62 Risi.
Yeah, okay, I completely agree with you. And what I was going to say there was, before you jumped in with that one, was we've had 9 races this season. We've had 7 different pole sitters. The only guy who's won more than 1 pole is Joey Hand, who's had 3 of them coming into this weekend. A car that hasn't been on the pole yet is that Risi Ferrari. It's been quickest in most of the sessions, and we'll see if they can nail it here in qualifying. I think we're going to see faster times in qualifying than we have the rest of the weekend. We'll see how hungry some of these guys are to get the pole position. But I think it's going to be quite an interesting session. Certainly, I think the BMW should be up there in there as well. It's going to be very, very interesting.
So, sound and vision together. GTLM class qualifying to come for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. We're live from trackside. Lovely to have your company here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, which has been taken over by Corvettes today, as well as the other manufacturer Corrals, but there are always a lot of Corvettes. America's sports car ready to go. The number 4's had a pole. Ford 25 and 62 are the 3 cars that don't have poles this year, Shea tells me. And it's the first time I've noticed the stars and stripes behind the gills on the Corvettes. Not to say they haven't been there this year, but I've not seen them that close up before. Green flag, Jeremy.
Yeah, the 25 car, by the way, the BMW Bill Arthur and Alexander Sims, 3 times that has qualified on the front row,
yes,
i.e. second, and twice Alexander Sims set the fastest lap of the race. So, yeah, they might not have a pole. Maybe this is their opportunity this weekend. We've seen how quickly Alexander Sims learns these tracks. The Englishman, his first season of racing in North America, and boy, he's been a really, really quick study.
So, let's settle back for a moment. We've got about a couple of minutes or so before these cars start their flying laps. Once again, not everyone coming out. 3, 4 and 25, both Corvettes and both BMWs going out to start with. And now both Porsches are rolling as well. The 912 already out, the 911 are already out, the 912 following it out.
And often we see the BMWs lagging back a little bit, don't we, at the beginning of the sessions? But, you know, these guys are going to be pushing to the limit. If they run off the racetrack, they're going to drag some sand back onto the racetrack. So is the track likely to be its cleanest early on in the session?
That's a very good point.
So.
That's a very good point, Jeremy. I like your thinking.
Yeah, I wonder whether that's why Bobby Rahal and the other strategists sent these cars out early.
GTD have been out there already. They've dragged some sand on the track, but you've got to think as we go through here, it's only going to get worse. I like your thinking there, Jeremy. And the only cars not out, the 62 Ferrari, and they are moving now, and the 2 Chip Ganassi Ford GTs still sitting on the pit lane as well. Risi coming out, lots of tyre debris on the outrun from the pit lane. The bright scarlet Risi Ferrari coming out. Oh, now is he going to come out right in front of the Corvette as it comes round to start its flying lap? He lifts and lets him go through. That's a smart move for everybody, I think, there, as the 3 car with Jan Magnussen behind the wheel, right to the edge, but no further on the curb at turn 3. Precision driving by the Danish driver. Ollie Gavin qualifying. It's his turn this weekend in the number 4 car. 49 wins for Yardley Hastings, most successful sports car driver.
He's got a birthday coming up next week as well, hasn't he?
Yep.
It was, by the way, it's Colin Brown's birthday yesterday and Ryan Briscoe's birthday tomorrow, race day. The fastest time of the weekend so far in GTLM has been set by Tony Vielander. That was a 22.635 yesterday afternoon, but Dirk Müller virtually matched that 22.678 this morning. Giancarlo Fisichella also turned a 22.9 yesterday. So it's Tony, isn't it, who's qualifying the car today. Let's see if we can maintain that pace of the Risi Ferrari.
In the pit lane, Shea Adam can tell us about the 2 Chip Ganassi Racing GTs.
Well, the number 67 is still sitting with the door wide open. I guess they're giving Ryan Briscoe an early birthday present, letting him have a little extra time. Either that or they're saving fuel already. Never know with that organization. 66, though, has just roared into life. So Dirk Müller has been told he can leave the pit lane, and indeed, he is doing just that.
Yeah, I think they're just pursuing the opposite strategy here. There's a big sideways slide for number 25 car, Alexander Sims. Again at turn 3 on the exit there, slips that left rear wheel onto the dirt. But we saw Madison Snow, it didn't cost him much time. It is Alexander Sims who was out of the box fastest, 24.161 to 24.196 of his teammate John Edwards. Nothing to choose between those 2 cars.
Yeah, 35.
So the next laps are going to be the ones, I think, the next couple of laps perhaps for these 2. A replay here of Alexander Sims, that car just stepping out sideways and going over the edge there.
Carbon copy of what Madison Snow did. And again, this time it'll be the Michelin engineers who'll want to have a look at the inside shoulder, the inside sidewall of that particular tyre on the car.
First car into the 23s is Jan Magnussen in the Corvette. That's massively. No, the 23s, big. Okay, fine. So that car turned a best session at Jan Magnussen, the 23.2 in the earlier practice session this morning. still three-quarters of a second away from that. Alexander Sims, however, is on the case. Look at that, 22.619 for 22.628 for Alexander Sims, 22.619 for John Edwards. That slip in turn 3 cost Alexander Sims about 1/10 of a second, and he's only 100th behind John Edwards. That's the difference between those two. So it's the black BMW. Does look stunning, doesn't it? Sinister black colour scheme.
Yeah, I love that. I think that looks really good. It's a massive throwback to the early days of BMW in the States with their M racing cars. The pit lane is now clear, says Shea Adam, as the 67 Ford with Ryan Briscoe on board is rolling out.
Tony Vilander purple in sector 1. He hasn't yet turned a super fast lap in that Ferrari, but this is it now. He's coming down the hill. A good middle sector as well, not the fastest. Nice clean exit to turn 11, heading now towards the start-finish line. That bright red 62 Risi Competizione Ferrari. Across the line he goes. The time comes up, and it is a new pole. Tony Vilander, 22.252, the fastest lap of the weekend so far.
That is an extraordinary lap. First proper flyer there for Vilander. Took one lap just to bring those Michelins up to temperature.
Brilliant.
Now, is he going to continue for another one? He's got 3.5 tenths at the moment on the 2 BMWs and a second on everyone else.
He's going to have to, because John Edwards has just gone quicker by 0.006 of a second. John Edwards in the BMW car number 24, 122.246.
The 24 BMW is the black car. The way I remember it is 24, as in 24 hours. That means there's darkness. That's the black one. It's the only way that I. That's right. My
super tidy line there through turn 3, using all of the road and the curb on the exit.
Oh, big slide in the middle of turn 5. He's going up the hill. Had to wind on a bit of corrective opposite lock. Meanwhile, Vilander already coming down the hill towards that little speedball of a corner that spits you out of turn 10 towards the final corner. Heavy braking into turn 11, takes a little bit of the inside curb all the way to the edge of the track on the exit, and here comes the Ferrari. Turbos spooling up. It's getting warmer all the time. It's a good lap from Vilander. Is it good enough? It's not. 22.274.
Yeah, 200 slower than his previous lap for Tony Vilander. He lost that, I think, in the middle sector.
Meantime, there's been a problem for the 66 Ford down into the first corner. We saw the car locking up there yesterday, front left locking up, but all of the smoke comes out of the back as if he's actually locked the back wheels. That's how aerodynamically efficient that car is.
We've got a new fastest time. It's Alexander Sims in the 25 BMW, the white BMW, a 22.178.068 ahead of John Edwards. Boy, what a battle this is turning out to be.
The gaps between first and second and third are 0.068 of a second and 0.074 of a second. Ridiculously tiny gaps that we are talking about. Less than 1/10 of a second.
Yeah, no improvement on the first sector on this lap by Tony Vilander, but it is a very, very fast sector. Let's see what he can do in the middle two sectors in that 62 Ferrari.
Well, what he can do, Jeremy, is the fastest of anybody, 32.5. He doesn't have to find that much. He's looking for 1/10. He's literally looking for 1/10. He's tidy off the final corner. Short final sector here, just on 18.5 seconds. He goes across the line and he hasn't lifted off. And he goes to the top. He goes to the top with a 22.0. If someone's going to go past him, there's going to be a 21 here, Jeremy.
Look at this.
There's going to be a 21.
Look at Alexander Sims. Here he comes now across the line. He's just got purple in sector 2. He's eclipsed Vilander by nothing.
Exactly the same in sector 1.
But he loses it on the final sector.
Wow!
He loses over 0.2 of a second in that final sector. 22.247 that lap for Alexander Sims. 22.178 his best. 22.051 for Vilander in the Ferrari, who's quicker again in the first sector on his 6th lap.
But the first sector now quickest of anybody, the 66 of Dirk Muller for Chip Ganassi Racing, and he is going to jump up from the 6th position that he is at the moment. Where is he going to get to?
Make that 7th, because who improved? Vantour.
Lawrence Vantour pops up to 4th in the Porsche. So this one's not over. Here comes Dirk Muller to 2nd. The gaps now are looking bigger though. It's a full 1/10 of a second. We've got 3 cars within 0.2 of, check that, 4 cars within 0.2 of a second at the head of the field. 122.051 is the new qualifying lap record for now for Tony Vilander. He's on for another lap that will be better. He's coming to the line now. Another big lock-up down to turn 1 for the 66 of Dirk Muller. He's rather ruined his next lap. A 21. There it is. A 21, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely remarkable. 81.965 seconds for a lap of Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Just take that in for a moment. Tony Vilander doing the business for the Ferrari of Houston-based and the Houston-based team, Risi Competizione. That is fuel for the soul, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a Ferrari on pole here 1 year ago. Daniel Serra in the Scuderia Corsa car turned a 122.867 1 year ago to get the pole in GTLM. The record, however, goes back to 2015 in the Z4 GTE. It was Dirk Werner who had the lap record here in qualifying at a 122.362. We've got the top 4 cars all quicker than that.
Tony Vilander's not finished. He's not finished.
No,
he's enjoying himself. He's done 6 laps on those Michelins now. That's still a very good middle sector.
It is.
He might just squeak another half a tenth or so. He's got a 21.965 to his name and a Corvette ahead of him. Might even be getting a little drag off the Corvette as he goes towards the line. Comes across the line now. We wait for the timing screen. Yep, yes. He's improved. 21.914, and all of that improvement in the first sector, Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, it was an infinitesimal amount because sector 2 and 3 for Vilander were not his personal best. But that just shows how well this Ferrari is working. It's super consistent. He can turn a string of super fast laps. That's what he's going to need tomorrow afternoon. Whoa, it's a big slide for number 67 car of Ryan Briscoe. He was on his best lap, but that's going to lose him a lot of time by straying over the curb on the exit of turn 6.
New asphalt on the outside of turn 6, and Ryan Briscoe used all of that and a bit. Was nearly caught out by the bit. Vilander will come in at the end of this lap. We're hearing from the pit lane, Tony Vilander and Giancarlo Fisichella eating lots of fruit this morning at Marian's. They were in front of me in the breakfast line. I had their bacon ration. It did not go to waste.
John Edwards, by the way, improved on his last lap. A 22.177, that's his 8th lap in that number 24 BMW. He's ahead of Alexander Sims, his teammate, by 0.001 of a second. But Mueller is in second place, so it's Ferrari Ford stepping up. Kind of surprised at that, actually. That's very impressive by Mueller in second place. And then the 2 BMWs, all those 3 cars, Mueller, Edwards and Sims, all on 22.1.
Ryan Briscoe finds himself 0.666 of a second behind pole position at the moment. He'll have a devil of a job to find that.
There's more time in the car, but he hasn't found it on this lap either.
No. Ollie Gavin in 9th position at the moment of the 9 and a second away. And that car still circulating. 123.009 for the 4 car. 122.789 for Jan Magnussen. But worry not, Corvette fans, because we've seen this before from the Velocity yellow cars, and yet during the race, I think what we have to say is one of those disclaimers, isn't it, that they have on investment ads. Performance in qualifying is no guarantee of performance during the race. And cars could go up and down the order at any time.
That is true, and once again, particularly in GTLM, I mean, huge advances in times compared to any of the practice sessions so far this weekend. So once again, they haven't been showing their true form, and they have right now. As we expected, the Ferrari at the front, the BMW is pretty close behind them, and the Ford right there as well. And certainly the Ford, I think, is going to be looking strong tomorrow. But the Ferrari clearly has been right at the front in every single session, including in qualifying. Great laps, plural, by Tony Vilander. 2 laps at least he had that would be good for the pole position.
Correct, and the only driver in the 21s.
Brilliant effort.
In fact, you're right, 3, because he did a 22.0 as well. Patrick Pilet is going to improve in the 911. He's the only one out there at the moment on a personal best lap. Has he just come into the pits? Bailed out of a personal best lap on the 911, which would have put him Oh, that would have advanced him at least a row on the grid, I reckon, unless he made a mistake coming down the hill, of course.
It probably would have only put him up maybe one position, which would be 5th, so inside or outside.
He would have stayed on the same.
So, but still, it was a good lap, and by far the fastest lap for the Porsche so far this weekend.
Massive smiles from Dave Sims and from Giancarlo Fisichella, and particularly from Tony Vilander, looking smooth with the shades on there, which he'll put onto his cap. Shea Adam is down in the Racing Competizione pit.
So much celebration down here, John, as the team doesn't quite know what to do.
Great moment. Jimmy Bruni in his Porsche gear out the back in the cold pit just went over to give Tony Vilander, who he knows very well, and Giancarlo Fisichella a big hug and a little bit of love there going between that former Ferrari driver and his former teammates. Very, very nice touch.
Yeah, he's not a showy guy, Tony Vilander, but he's looking very pleased with himself here. Absolutely should be. That was a brilliant effort.
Shea Adam is at the bottom of the pit perch. Tony's just saying, right, if you could have only just tweaked this a little bit and give me half a millimetre here, I could have got a 21 flat. I got to find half a second there. Shea Adam with the pole sitter for GTLM and the first this season for Racing Competizione.
Well, and the first one for you, Tony, how good does it feel to finally get a pole position in this series?
No, it's a great feeling. We got some Reezy love going out there on the racetrack. Rick, my engineer, said drive as fast as you can, and today is a great result of teamwork, never giving up. This car was prepared for Le Mans. Unfortunately, we have had what we had, and now this car is here and showing the pace.
You had 3 laps that were quick enough for pole, and yet you come over to talk to your engineer. There's more speed in the car, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, Rick was doing the old trick. He was giving me P2, so I had to push. That's an old trick from 70s, so thanks for Rick.
Coming to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, it's a track that means a lot to Ferrari, but what does it mean to you?
I mean, I always enjoyed this track a lot. Somehow with the elevation and these challenging corners where you really struggle to match every lap the same line, somehow it suits my driving style. In the past races, what I've done here, we had the pace at some point, but we always lacked the final result. Obviously, this has nothing to do with the result of tomorrow, but it's a good starting point. We showed the pace in the practice. We were good in the long runs, and now the car is on pole, so excellent start towards the race.
Well, another track with a lot of elevation change and a lot of twisty bits. That's at Bathurst. You got the pole there, the 12 hours this year. That ended in a win. Good luck tomorrow, Tony.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well done, Reezy.
Yes, well done, Reezy, and well done, Tony Vilander. Rightly, Shea mentioning that Bathurst drive, a very emotional drive to the pole position there for Tony Vilander, named after Alan Simonson, of course. And there was a lot of emotion that day, but in the race he was imperious. In the GT version, the GT3 version of the Ferrari, which he had little or no experience in before that weekend, and he drove away from a world-class field at seconds a lap. Literally, he destroyed them every time he was in the car. When he's in that kind of mood, that we've just seen there, and that consistency that you mentioned, Jeremy, if I'm anyone else in the pit lane, that's sending shockwaves down the pit lane to me.
Yeah, no, he's looking super strong for tomorrow's race, no question about it. And as he points out, it's just brilliant for the Risi team. They've had so much heartbreak this season, being forced out on the first lap of 2 consecutive races, for goodness sake. And now bouncing back with a vengeance.
And that chassis is the Le Mans chassis, the repaired Le Mans car. That car, and that is back. That will do the last 2 races of the season. The car that we saw at VIR has now been, to all intents and purposes, retired from competition. And so that is the car that was substantially damaged at Le Mans, repaired, and clearly in absolutely pristine condition for Tony Vilander and for Giancarlo Fisichella and the rest of Risi. That, I think, is a pole position that will be begrudged by very few down the pit lane, even those who are sitting in the wake by 0.2 of a second and more. Good job by everybody.
Good job. And
chassis 3820, by the way.
Big pardon?
It's chassis 3820.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fizzy's been fast also this weekend.
Yeah, he has.
Hats off there to Rick Mayer, as Tony was saying, the technical director at Risi Competizione. He put together a really, really good setup, and the drivers have taken full advantage of it.
Well, I enjoyed that, but that's not the end of our banquet of qualifying here. We've had the GT Daytonas. Congratulations to Paul Miller Racing and to Madison Snow. We've had GTLM. Congratulations to Tony Vielander and to Risi Competizione. Lamborghini and Ferrari, mid-engined cars, the both. So at least that part of my theorising for who might win the race tomorrow for the IHG Rewards Club Podium Predictor was sound to this point. Don't forget, you've still got time to make your picks. www.podiumpredictor.com. You're up against my picks this weekend. Beat me and win yourself some great prizes. Nail the whole lot and, well, the world's your oyster pretty much. We've still got the prototype category to go. And if qualifying or if practice this morning is anything to go by, you ain't seen nothing yet. This could be absolutely brilliant. I don't think anybody is going to get a big advantage. Take a step or two back from the fences. Those of nervous disposition, look away. Now, if you're at home, get the screen away. This will not be suitable for children because this is going to be a battle royale. Adult strength qualifying in the prototype categories coming up live from trackside. Free around the world. No geo-blocks, no brakes. Here's the action coming your way with the GTLM and GTD qualifying done. It's now the racing thoroughbreds, the cars that were built with one thing and one thing only in mind, to go fast for a very long time, very fast indeed for a very long time, up to and including 24 hours in this series. But here, it's about 15 minutes, and it's really about 5 or 6 laps, and who comes out on top. All the usual qualifiers I'm hearing from Shea Adams, so let's run through them with this Continental Tire update from the pit lane.
It will be Mark Goosens in the number 90, the Visit Florida car. He is a big fan favorite here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. There are normally banners up directly across the pit lane that say the Goose, so I'd expect them to be out tomorrow. Jose Gutierrez is taking qualifying for PR1 Matheson Motorsports. In the 2 ESM cars, we have Johannes van Overbeek, the hometown hero, in the number 22, and Scott Sharp in the 2. He could just sneak a pole. That might happen. Those turbos are really, really good in these cooler conditions. 85 is the JDC Miller Motorsport car. That is Misha Goikberg. And in the Whelen Engineering Cadillac, I knew I was going to say that, the Cadillac, that is Eric Curran. In the 5, it is Christian Fittipaldi. He's really good at qualifying as well. And in the 10, we find Ricky Taylor.
Yeah, it's a tough one for the Taylor boys. They will need to be at the sharper end of the field to stay out of any first corner problems. You can't afford to bin the car here, though. There's a championship on the line in the next 2 races. And inside the cars on the pit lane, it is a study in concentration as Ricky Taylor closes the door to the Konica Minolta TPI VR racing car.
If you picked up a program here this weekend, have a look at it. There's a fast lap description by Ricky Taylor. Let's see if he can
put it together,
put it in practice. What he says in words, yes.
Yeah, what do you reckon, then, Jeremy? We got the last one.
Ricky's the man here, I think.
Do you think
he's going to be hard to beat? Yes. Scott Sharp isn't quite on the pace, or hasn't been generally as Ryan DL. Johannes van Overbeek certainly will be in with a shout. But the real interesting story, I think, is going to be the number 52 car. Jose Gutierrez taking qualifying duties, and he's actually got a faster lap than Olivier Pla in this weekend so far.
Fractionally, 0.003 of a second.
Yeah, 2, yeah.
2 of a second.
And
sorry.
that was just, both of those 2 guys did it this morning. 1:18.2. Which is the fastest lap of the weekend so far, was set yesterday afternoon by Ryan DL in a Tequila Petroni SM Nissan car number 2. Both of the Taylor brothers, Ricky's turned an 18.1, Jordan's turned an 18.2, and like I said, Gutierrez and Pla, they've also turned an 18.2 in practice.
Are we going to see a 17
yes, I think so.
for pole position?
I think
17 something, and that would be a lap record for this formula, clearly, because it's brand new. But how does that compare to P2 lap records and DP lap records of years past?
Last year the record was set to 1:18.143.
Right.
So you know, they've only gone a tenth of a second quicker than that. 2 cars have gone faster than that so far this weekend. But I would expect that record to fall, and I think it's going to be Ricky Taylor. I think it's going to be pretty tough to beat. But don't tell the other guys that. Or no one has told the other guys that, because they're going to go out there to prove me wrong.
But I was going to say, nobody believes it anyway. Everyone thinks that they can go quicker. Right now, anything is possible for the prototype category, who have been released onto the Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca circuit, and everyone has gone out bar the Visit Florida number 90 car. So the Goose is just holding his powder, keeping his powder dry for a moment or two. I do expect every time that Shea mentions Mark Goossen's name that the assembled multitudes will all in unison go, Goose! He does have that effect on people. The shiny black Cadillac then climbing the hill, a little more blue on the car again this weekend, with the Konica Minolta colours on that car as ever. A little bit more blue, I think, on the fin this weekend. New design on that fin, looks really sharp indeed. Since that car went to the shiny black from the almost matte dark grey at the start of the season, I really think it looks sharp. It looks really good, suits the shape of the car. Coming down through turn 9, being patient on the throttle. Now, will these guys be up to optimum tyre temperature and pressure immediately, or will that be a couple of laps away? Through to the end of the lap. And the start for Ricky Taylor. 2 pole sitters set. Madison Snow for Lamborghini, and the 48 Paul Miller car sits on pole in GT Daytona. Tony Vilander with a stunning 3 laps that were quick enough for pole position with Ferrari and Risi, the number 62 car, who is our third of 3 pole sitters this weekend here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca for the penultimate round of 2017, and IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship moving to its usual finale at Road Atlanta for Petit Le Mans. Well, they seem to be winding the cars up early, Jeremy. And still waiting for Goossens. Goossens is on the roll. Goossens has come out of the pit. So all of the 8 prototypes now are on the circuit, and we wait for the first time to come through that is faster than the GTLMs. 21.9 for Tony Vilander, new qualifying record. 24.5 for Madison Snow, new qualifying record. It has to be a new qualifying record in prototype because it's a new formula, but
well, yeah. It is a new formula, but it's still prototype division now.
Yeah, but I think it will be. I think we'll see a 17. Okay, Ricky Taylor rolls through in a comfortable 1:19.3, 1:20.5 for Christian Fittipaldi. So just bringing the car tyres up to temp and pressure. So it's not going to be the first flying lap. See how much Ricky is leaning on it as he goes through turn 5, off to our left. Yes, he's trying. Christian Fittipaldi.
Nice crisp turn in, I think, on that number 10 car. Good.
Which the Christian Fittipaldi car did not. The 5 car moving around on the turn in, got squirrely at the apex. Little lock up on the right front continental of the number 10 as he came into the first part of the corkscrew. I don't think it slowed him down materially. Oh, he's on the power so early through turn 10. Now down to 11. Heavy braking. Slowest corner on the circuit. Oh, loses the back end as he turned in. Very fast hands, though. Maybe cost him a tenth or 2. Couldn't get on the power. Comes across the line. And it is, well, wow, 1:17.9. And that was not a clean lap. 1:17.9, the whichever way you count the qualifying record, it's gone. It was an 18.1. So 17.9 from Ricky Taylor on effectively his first proper lap with a mistake at the final corner. A small one, mind you, and with a lock-up at the top of the hill as he just took the curb on driver's right on that little right-hand kink.
There's a really good lap from Eric Curran there, up into second place ahead of Christopher Fittipaldi. Johannes van Overbeek sneaks into third between the two Action Express cars. But a 1:18.4 for Eric Curran. Boy, that's a lot quicker than these managers. Best was at 18.9 this morning, so found more than half a second on his first lap. Good lap there for Jose Gutierrez, up into second place. A 1:18.3 for the Mexican in car number 52. That's the Fresno-based PR1 Matheson Motorsports team based here in California. Just a couple of hours or so from their home base. Well, the support here as well, and running well right in this session. And purple again in both first two sectors are Ricky Taylor, who's on another one here. He'll be well into the 17s this time around. 17.9 won his last up. 17.237.
Oh my goodness, we might see a 60.
Yeah.
Are we going to see a 60? Oh my goodness me. Well, we knew that these new cars were a real step up. The global Formula P2 chassis with the manufacturer bodywork and engine choice have really shown well. Improvement
there for Christian Fittipaldi, up into second at a 1:18.137. He's just been eclipsed by Eric Curran, who's quicker again in the number 31 car, a 17.8. But where's Gutierrez? He's going to be faster again, I think. Johannes van Overbeek sneaks into fourth place in car number 22. That puts Gutierrez down to sixth, because Scott Sharp in the other Nissan is up into fifth place. But we're waiting for Gutierrez to come across the line. He's done that now, and he goes up into P2 again. A 1:17.850 for Gutierrez in car number 52. 1:17.866 for Curran, third place in car number 31.
I promised you adult strength, and I think we've gone way beyond that. Already the qualifying, it's almost a full second, whichever way you look at it, and Taylor hangs the back end out.
He's going faster again.
Massive exit from the final corner, sideways, Tokyo drift style, and he comes across the line. Did he lose time? No, he did not. It is a 16, and it's not even a 16.9, it's a 16.8. He's got a full second on the field. Ricky Taylor turned up to 11 in the number 10 car. Is just putting on a masterclass out there, and not even the other Cadillacs can go up against that kind of pace on a single lap around Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Incredible.
Incredible, absolutely right. Just a stunning lap there. Another great effort by Eric Curran. He improved again to a 17.809 on that lap to get ahead of Gutierrez. And on this next lap, Gutierrez is personal best in sectors 1 and 2. He's coming towards the end of the lap. Really good effort by the young Mexican.
It's
Cadillac second. Excuse me. He qualified second at Road America, did Gutierrez. He's trying to match that here. He's not going to get anywhere near Ricky Taylor's time, but it's still. Look at
Mark Goossens to second. Mark Goossens to second. I was just about to say, I think he's putting in a decent lap. I didn't think it would bounce him all the way to second, but he's still 8.5, 9/10 away, Jeremy. But that's the Goose up into second position, and that is a really brilliant lap by the Belgian.
It certainly is. 1:17.730 for Goossens, 1:17.809 for Curran, 1:17.809. Who's that?
Fittipaldi up to second.
17.682. It's super tight there. Forget Ricky Taylor. He's 8/10 of a second down the road.
Might as well be 8 seconds.
Well, that's true. But the next four covered by just over a 10th of a second.
Fittipaldi for Dallara Cadillac, then the Global Ligier with the Gibson engine of Goossens, then Curran in another Dallara Cadillac.
Another 16.9 there for Ricky Taylor. Not quite as quick as the previous lap. Now he's lifted off.
I'd pull him in, honestly.
Yeah, I think he's on his way into the pits.
I'd pull him in now. Let's not have an issue where the car gets damaged at this point. All right, you've got 24 hours to get it fixed, but you don't want that drama. I remember Detroit trying a little bit too hard, and that cost them. Ultimately, they had to fight back, and they did. But you just don't need that drama now in touching distance of the championship. I mean, the worst that can happen is somebody might get. I can't see more than
off lap here for Ricky Taylor, but he's on another one now. He goes across the line.
I can't see two cars beating him. I mean, even if one car beats him, he's still on the front row.
I don't think anybody's going to beat it. This is personal pride now for Ricky Taylor, trying to prove the point. Brilliant.
Honestly, I can do another quick lap. Extraordinary stuff. 10.5, 90, 31, 52.2, 22 and 85. And Misha Goldberg, and you know, Misha's doing a pretty good job in that Oregon, and he's nearly 2 seconds away from pole position. We have not said that. We've not seen these kind of gaps in the field, Jeremy, pretty much all year. You've got Johannes van Overbeek 1.4 seconds back in the 22 Nissan. Johannes hasn't been 1.2 seconds off the pace in his career ever. This is extraordinary, and this is not these guys not going quickly. They're all going quickly. They're all sitting in the 17s. Ricky coming in this time, so that everybody except Van Overbeek and Goldberg are faster than the existing lap record, and they're 8 tenths, 9 tenths a second away. This is Ricky on one of his good days, one of his very good days.
Well, which most of them are.
Well, he has a lot of them. He has a lot of them, but this has been exceptional. Yeah. You know, all through the first part of the season, Jeremy, you and I, when we were doing Michelin post-race tech, people saying, oh, the Cadillacs are too quick, it's still unfair. And we kept talking about the Ricky and Jordan effect. You are seeing it absolutely perfectly displayed here. They are just very, very good drivers, and clearly Wayne Taylor and the rest of the Konica Minolta team are getting more out of the car with those two drivers than the other teams can get with their drivers.
Yes, exactly right. It's a goodly margin there. For another good lap there, by the way, for Mark Goossens, to the 1:17.9 on that last lap, as did Jose Gutierrez. He didn't improve his time, Gutierrez, a 17.937 that lap, and 17.822 his best. He finds himself now down in 5th position, so unable to match that front row start he managed at Road America. But he's only just over 1/10 of a second away from the front row. That was Fittipaldi digging deep to put in that lap there to get that 2nd position. Good effort.
And the splits are so close.
Improvements.
I mean, unbelievable.
Improvements for Van Overbeek and Goldberg. Not enough to move them up the positions, but Van Overbeek does go faster than the old lap record. So the top 7 cars, all except Misha Goldberg, underneath the old track record set just last year. Extraordinary.
Really extraordinary stuff. This formula going from strength to strength, the prototype formula for IMSA, incorporating the global LMP2 chassis with manufacturer input into the DPIs, and of course running the global cars themselves. Big changes next year to the global chassis with all of the 4 manufacturers bar Orica, so 3 out of the 4 manufacturers allowed to redesign their chassis and their aero kit, still using the Gibson engine in order to try and, quotes, level the playing field. Oh, big lock up for the Nissan going into turn 1 there.
This will be the 3rd front row start, assuming things stay as they are, for Christian Fittipaldi. Qualified 2nd also at Sebring and at Long Beach. He was 3rd on the grid at Watkins Glen. They went on to win that race across the Andrea Barbosa. So this certainly bodes well for that team. It's a good effort by Christian Fittipaldi to sneak ahead of Mark Goossens by the narrowest of margins, just 0.05 of a second.
Mistake by Johannes van Overbeek was the ESM Nissan I was talking about in turn 1. Huge lock-up, missed the apex for the first part, and he's got his teammate coming up behind him. Has he seen him? Yes, he has. Pulls over to the side of the road, does not impede Scott Sharp. He was 1 place ahead of him in the qualifying, 6th and 7th at the moment.
Good job by Scott, I'd say.
Under 1:18, I think he'll take that.
Very good.
However, he'll not be happy to be 1.1 seconds away from the lead.
He won't, but he will be happy to be only 3/10 away from the front row of the grid.
Fair
the
point.
Good news is that. The bad news is, Ricky Taylor's just gone. Just a stunning effort by the young man from Florida.
1 minute left to go. Gutierrez still out there, Van Overbeek still out there, Goldberg still out there. Goldberg looking for an improvement on the 1:18.6.
Ricky Taylor's always been the pole meister, hasn't he? This will be his record 8th pole in the prototype ranks in the IMSA Continental in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. His 5th pole of the season.
5 car, the yellow pearl at the top of the hill, turns into the corkscrew for Jose Gutierrez. Not a bad for Mick Goldberg, excuse me. Not a bad set of splits, but he's not going to improve. Indeed, he's had that call from the team and he pulls into the pits. So that leaves Jose Gutierrez out on the circuit, along with Johannes van Overbeek. They will see the checkered flag the next time round. They will not better the time set by Ricky Taylor, 1:16.8. Indeed, the 22 is in the pit lane. So Johannes van Overbeek out of his lap. Only Jose Gutierrez on the track now, and his splits aren't anywhere near. In fact, he's lifted off. So it is going to be an addition to the pole tally. And Shea Adam is there with this Continental Tire pit lane report for our pole sitter for Sunday's race for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca.
2011, 2013, 2015, now 2017. Ricky Taylor's been a part of the pole sitting car for the event this weekend. That's a pretty cool string you got here. Don't yet have that win, though. How are you going to get it this weekend?
I know. We've had a lot of fast cars here at Laguna Seca, but I think this Cadillac is really strong this weekend. The guys have done a lot of work since Road America. That's what I love about all of our Konica Minolta guys. They keep looking for more speed, and they keep finding it. And it makes my brother Jordan and my job so much easier to go out there and execute. Takes a lot of the pressure off, but also at the same time we see how hard they work. So tomorrow is going to be really important, I think, for the points as well. We need to make sure we keep our noses clean and get through safely. But we want to win more than anything, and we just want to go to Petit with another win under our belts and go for the win there as well.
8/10, though. I mean, come on, you smoked the competition today. Where did you find that extra time? Did you find a shortcut out there?
I mean, maybe a little bit in the corkscrew. No, I mean, it's the guys have just prepared Jordan and me so well for this in terms of giving us what we need in the car. And the preparation, just who gets the new tires in practice, and we've come to know what I like in qualifying, and that's been the strong point of having a qualifying driver and a finishing driver. Is now we know, okay, Ricky likes this kind of car in qualifying, and they can really give that to me. And so we're continuing to hit our stride, and we need to get back to another win tomorrow, and that's now our focus.
Will the team make any big changes to the car from the car that you like in qualifying to the car that Jordan likes to finish with?
Yeah, normally we will. Obviously, this car only has to go 15 minutes, and here at Laguna, there's a lot of tire wear, so we knew it wasn't going to go a full 15 minutes, and so there are some changes. It was pretty ragged edge for those 3 or 4 laps, and that's the way it should be in qualifying. So tomorrow we'll dial it back on the edginess side so we can breathe a little bit, but 2 hours and 40 minutes to go tomorrow. 3 or 4 sets of Continental tires, so we'll give it all we have.
Good luck looking for that 6th win of the year tomorrow.
Thank you.
Honestly, I've run out of superlatives for that, because that's as close to a perfect run that I have ever seen, and that is a quality field. He's got Christian Fittipaldi in a similar vehicle behind him. He's got Mark Goosens in a Ligier, which is not a slow vehicle around here. Jose Gutierrez has been getting quicker and quicker. He has put a number on a very, very good field. And we've got 8.829 of a second. We've seen times, Jeremy, on tracks this length and longer, where 8.829 of a second has been the gap between first and at the back of the grid in the prototype car.